And Wei brought a checkbook. Okay, so thank you for coming out for the West Coast. Let's give her a big round of applause. Wei Xiao.
Hello, good evening, everybody. I'm Wei from Samsung Developers. So today I will introduce Samsung Chord SDK, version 1.0. So the SDK was released. Can you hear me? I'm not sure. Okay. So Chord SDK version 1.0 was released in late April this year. What is Chord? Let's take a closer look. So Chord is a powerful engine that enables a reliable peer-to-peer local communication network without the need of a server. Currently, we provide 3 different ways to establish the peer-to-peer connection. Wi-Fi, which means all the devices participate need to plug into the same Wi-Fi network. Mobile hotspot. You have to turn on the mobile hotspot on one of your devices, and all the other devices can tether to it. Wi-Fi Direct. So it's basically a way to establish a peer-to-peer connection without the need of a physical Wi-Fi access point. You can think your device like soft AP. So it can establish the connection without the physical unit. Chord SDK helps to manage several devices group in a local network. Chord helps you hide all the networking details. So even if you are a developer without a detailed knowledge about networking, you don't need to concern about that. On top of that, we provide APIs to provide real-time data transfer within Chord device groups. Currently, the supported format of data transferred are text messages, binary messages, and files. So what is the group management provided by Chord? Now I have 4 devices, A, B, C, D, plugged into the same Wi-Fi network. By using Chord API, you can create group 1 to support multiplayer games. You can create another Chord group to include device C and D for picture sharing purpose. Chord provides an easy and fast way to discover devices in the network and establish the connection. It provides a totally decentralized communication. Any device can join and go at any time. Several individual groups can be set up in the same local network. And one thing I have to mention here, if you pay attention to device C, it can be a member of multiple groups at the same time. So once we set up the device group, we can do real-time data sharing. Now I have 3 Samsung devices formed into one Chord group. A picture is selected from the device on the left side. It can be transferred to the other devices in the same group at the same time. And of course, file sharing is not the only thing we provide. If you draw something on your picture, the same drawing will show up on the selected devices as well. The communication is not one directional. Any device can initiate the data transfer and to one or multiple devices in the same Chord group. So 2 concepts developers have to be aware of, node and the channel. A node is a device connected to other devices via Chord. Channel is essentially a group of devices. There are 2 types of channels in Chord network. One is public channel. Any nodes join in the same subnet will automatically join the same public channel and share content. Another concept is private channel. Private channel is made up of nodes running in the same application. As shown in the picture here, we have one public channel which includes devices from 1 to 5. Channel A includes devices 4 and 5. So any data transferred in channel A will only be visible to device 4 and 5 in this case. So here is the overall architecture of Chord. We will start from the bottom. So at the platform layer, we provide 3 different ways to establish the connection: Wi-Fi, mobile hotspot, and Wi-Fi direct. At the IP layer, we support UDP for device discovery. So every node will send out a regular UDP broadcast message to its peers, so to tell them, I'm still alive. And each node will maintain a list of all the available nodes currently in the network. TCP is also supported for data transfer. So let's go to the core. 0MQ is basically an open source protocol that supports socket programming, so developers don't need to worry about the details. Channel manager is in charge of the setup and the tear down of public and different private channels. Messaging protocol is designed for message transfer between devices, and we use FTP for file transfer. On top of that, we provide third-party APIs for developers. Chord is currently supported by Android API 4.0 and later versions. So if you develop by using ICS API 14, the app can be supported. So since Chord is still new, I want to present some of the use cases to help you understand its potential. The first one is education. In a classroom setting, the teacher can send her teaching material from her device to students' device in real time. She can further divide the students into smaller groups for practice and send different quiz questions for each individual group. Multiplayer game is another interesting use case. As shown in the picture here, we have 4 different players competing with each other, and the game status can be shared with other players. Game control. Here we use a tablet as game display and a mobile phone as a game controller. The motion event generated on the phone can be transferred to the tablet in real time so as to control the game. Proximity-based social networking is another use case that can be built upon Chord. So people in the same venue can share photos or exchange messages. Here I will show a demo video which highlights a successful Chord-based application, air hockey. So I will skip the networking setup part. So 2 applications launched side by side on 2 tablets, which are in the same network. Once Chord is started, you can transfer data between these 2 devices. Now, of course, you can include more players into your game. Now 4 players are playing by using Chord. Okay. So for developers, the next question is how to develop. The integration is fairly straightforward. There is only one package for Chord, com.samsung.chord, including class Chord Manager, which is the class provides all Chord functionalities. 4 interface classes are provided. iNetwork Listener is in charge of the network listening part. Basically, it detects which network interface we're using. Is that mobile hotspot or is that Wi-Fi? iChord Manager defines chord channel operation. So if you want to send out real-time data to other devices in the group, this is the class. This is the interface class to use. Chord Channel Listener defines a listener for chord channel management events. So if you receive any files or receive any real-time data from other devices, this is the API, the interface part you should use. Chord Manager Listener basically detects the join and the leaving of each chord device. Now I'm going to use an example to quickly go through all the steps you need to develop a Chord-enabled app. Now we use a smart class example. You need 4 basic steps. Initialization, which initialize and start Chord Manager. Join. In our case, the teacher will create a chord group and the students will participate. Then in step 3, teacher will send out a quiz questions. Students will give their feedback to the teacher. Once we're done, we can feel free to leave the chord group. Initialization step. First, we need to get a Chord Manager instance within our context. Then we check the available network interface. So once we have the information, we're ready to start Chord Manager on our device. So we simply call Chord Manager start function with the interface information. And we can define a Chord Manager listener to detect other devices that will participate in our communication. So iChord Manager listener unstarted is evoked when the Chord Manager starts correctly. At this point, we're ready to handle different channels. Now the teacher will create the quiz group. So here we use a private channel com.samsung.test.quiz. Normally the channel name is a combination of your package name and your separate channel name. So so the first time when we call join channel, since the private channel doesn't exist, a new channel will be created. If the students later on invoke join channel in their application, they will join the existing channel. So from the teacher side, she'll wait for all the students to participate. When each device joins, an unknown joined call will be invoked. Since the channel is built up, we're ready to send out quiz questions. The content of the parameter is basically a byte array. So you have to pack your data information, your binary data information, or text message information into this data structure. You can use send data or to send the data information to all the participated devices, or you can choose which device you want to send the information to. So from the student side, they will receive the quiz question. And they will decouple the question from the data structure. Each student will come up with their own answer and compose the answer into another byte array and send it back to the teacher. So once this is done, you can just evoke leave channel API call to withdraw from the private channel. Fairly simple, right? That's it. I will set up a Chord demo game after this presentation. The sample code of this particular game is downloadable from developer.samsung.com website. So for developers who are interested, feel free to download the app, play with it. That's pretty much ramps up my demo. So one thing I want to show you is the app challenge Pete just mentioned. So the deadline for Chord-enabled app submission is end of August. So we're not too late yet. I think, let me Google it real quick. Yeah. Okay. So we will have 2 app challenges this year. The current one is Galaxy S4 based. You have to use Chord SDK in your application. So the top prize is, I think, $800,000 will be divided into top 10 winners. So you have to submit your Samsung App Store, or you have to submit your app into Samsung App Store by August 31st to make your entry valid. Yeah. Any questions? You can just use Eclipse. Yeah. The SDK is downloadable from developer.samsung.com. Can show you really quick here. As Michael just mentioned, we provide different SDKs, and the Chord SDK is only one of them. So if you scroll down, Samsung Chord SDK is here, and then we do provide a web API for to support Chord as well, but it's still in beta release.
Let's hear a hand. Thank you so much, Wei. So what we can do, if you have questions, you can come up and actually talk with Wei.